Daniels continued his historic rookie season against the Browns, and across the pond, it was another rough day for Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. Toyota Halftime next.
Want some sports trivia? Just ask Siri. Who is the all-time passing touchdowns leader?
Gwen, Mike, Reba.
Okay, coach.
Go out there and find that right player.
Let's go, let's go.
And we're going to coach these artists to the...
Terrible name, great website.
Yeah, we're not gonna have the book.
No, I just meant in general.
Okay, let's switch this.
So do you pay for a Peacock and all these? I'll be jumping on the Met streams.
I'll be jumping on the meth streams. That's what you said to your peoples.
To my professor, yeah.
She's not your peoples.
Fuck no. You my people's dog. Come on out.
Don't say that to me.
You people. You my people.
Why is it giving me the option to do that one?
That's not.
No, hold on. Let me see what it shows whenever I do that one. Maybe if I bring it back over here. Because before it gave me all 4 options. So that's...
There we go.
Alright.
So we basically have to just refresh that shit by switching them.
Okay, cool.
Good to know. Okay.
Good to know indeed.
Playlist is shared with this one, so you can just go on the playlist. Or you can switch to... I don't know if it'll mess up. Okay, the only way I know it won't mess up that YouTube deal is if you switch out of Keysell on like your browser account and switch to like add user.
I have all of them on here, I believe.
Well, I was saying if you have mine, if not, you just have another one. Just switch to anyone. That way, when you go on YouTube for the other one, we can go ad free.
Okay.
So switch to any of these, and then we'll just log me in on the Gmail I have for YouTube. Wait, we have to have a new fucking... Okay, I guess we have to have a new window open.
Yeah, that's what they do. It's so annoying. But we can just add it. So this is for the... This is Life Team.
That's
so
fine. Yeah, just
do you want to just sign into your own?
Yeah, just go on YouTube on there. That way we can be logged into Just Go There. Or, sorry, Just HQ.
That's not what I wanted. Just HQ, huh? Okay.
Because that also has the playlist shared, and it's ad-free.
Boom.
In case, like, there's a 30-minute video from Nico. That's his pizza battle. And it's just like, annoying as shit to go through all the ads he probably has on there. So, you know, first name, not last name. Thankfully, not to put that in Gmail. It's already on Gmail. Hit forgot password. See if they'll give you the alternate sign-in shit. Tap yes.
This one?
Yeah, either one works, honestly. It's both just 2-factor. We're going with 636789. So next, don't reset. Okay, yeah, either one works. 3-factor. I guess technically still 2-factor because we have the original password.
Now, for real, you're going triple up on them. I like it.
940339. To be fair, literally, someone made a great point. Your email literally is connected to everything. It's your biggest digital footprint. And for me, that shit is more sacred than my social security number.
Yeah, I do not blame you for moving that way.
Especially considering how many Google Drives we have now that are like just using company shit. Okay, I got youtube.com/oops. See if it'll finally reload, because the fuck is wrong with YouTube?
They tripping, bro.
Sign it. So it just signed me in overall. Oh,
Okay,
fuck
bro.
it. Just HQ.
Let's get
Fuck
it.
it. I guess now I'm just a save profile on your damn computer. Makes it easier.
Makes it easier for everyone, buddy. Just add yourself to that
It won't go to Windows. Sign to different shit. So just close out the other one. That first one on top, and then we'll just switch it on OBS.
Switch it, yeah.
I guess that's why they're also different color windows too.
Alright, we're good.
I'm really not a fan, man. It's just like, we have two different windows. Let me just have YouTube open on different accounts per window. I tried on my computer yesterday, it wouldn't let me.
Really? Why?
So I had it to see like the Just HQ and Just Season, just like make sure playlists match. And when I started refreshing on one of them, the other one will refresh as well, like the second I go on there. So I can't just like do different searches, like it'll automatically sync up. And I assumed it's because I'm on the same Google Chrome account logged in on the same device. I figured if we're on different profiles of Chrome as a browser, that should help us.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I bet. And this is already in a playlist of ours, right?
Reacts 10.6.
KSI, Mr. Beast.
All right. Do we want to introduce the stream?
We should introduce the stream, and then after that, because Danny Aarons has no stream he does for FIFA, he'll literally be like, all right, guys, thanks for watching the video. He'll be like, all right, chat, you ready? Welcome back to my channel for episode 3. And it's like, fuck it. It's also kind of a comedic bit. Like, once you have people watching live, it's like, here's the bullshit we do.
Okay.
So, overall, intro's cool, and then we just intro every video. This is from Dr. Mike. He reacts to the controversy that is Lunchly. I'll do an intro bullshit of the video if you do the intro of the stream.
All right. All right, guys. Welcome back to another Just Season stream. It's me, Kisel, a.k.a. Kaishil the Goat, and I'm joined with my brother.
Med, a.k.a. Marketing Medi, a.k.a. Hire me, people. Please, I need the internship.
Hire him.
All right, so here's the deal. I want to start the stream off by just doing some reactions. And more importantly, we got a little bit of controversy, apparently, that we'll learn about.
Oh, talk to me. What's going on?
One, William Olajide Olatunji, something else. I forgot how to pronounce his full name. JJ, a.k.a. KSI of the Sidemen. And Logan Paul, they teamed up with Mr. Beast himself to take on the idea of children's snack packs that we really only got from maybe field trips at best.
Yeah.
If that, basically.
Never got them. Always got to see them in the aisle,
Haha, you didn't get an artificial cheese product.
I really wanted it.
Yeah, that's basically all that was. So, the nacho one went hard for things that aren't real quality. Now, basically, apparently there's some health controversy, the way they label some stuff. I don't know the details, but you know who does know? An actual medical board certified doctor who's nice enough to educate people. So, Dr. Mike, as he's well known on YouTube, the guy saves lives, changed legislation to where EpiPens are now mandated on every flight in America.
Oh, really?
Because he had to save somebody's life, and there was an EpiPen, so he got with Senator Chuck Schumer to talk about it, and he was the key reason why Congress made it a law. You need now EpiPens on every flight because somebody might have some sort of anaphylactic shock. I think that's the term. Their life needs to be saved, whether they're on the ground or in the air. So, shout out Dr. Mike. Let's see what he thinks about and how he explains this whole Lunchley situation.
And shout out to him for being nice enough to wear his actual scrubs that says that he's certified on it. I think it's funny when every time a doctor has to come on stream, they feel the need to actually wear the uniform, and it's like, I understand why they do it, but it's like, we believe you if you really got it. Don't worry.
Nah, it's true.
And Logan Paul have announced they were teaming up. KSI, Mr. Beast, and Logan Paul have announced they were teaming up and launching a new food product called Lunchly to compete with the uber popular kids brand Lunchables. And the reception has been less than stellar. Many creators took to social media to criticize the product and the creators themselves. Logan and Jimmy were quick to push back on the critics with their own posts, and in the process created newsworthy headlines like,
YouTube stars are coming for your kids' lunch. It's a move that has Mr. Beast, Logan Paul, and KSI teaming up to take on Lunchables.
And I usually don't make videos discussing creators' products, but when terms like healthier or better for you get tossed around, I feel it's important to set the record straight. So, in the spirit of avoiding personal attacks, let's take a look at the science of Lunchly, including a true issue with their kits I don't think anyone has correctly pointed out yet. For those who may not know, Lunchables are basically these pre-packaged do-it-yourself meal kits. They've usually got things like crackers, deli meats, cheeses, treats, and come with a little drink. And since their inception, they've been super popular with kids. However, it's been known, especially by experts, that while these kits are fun and tasty, their nutritional value is just not good. They're often too high in sodium, saturated fat, and added sugars, and don't use healthy whole food ingredients. And because they fall into the category of ultra-processed foods, they aren't healthy to consume often, period. Studies actually show that those consuming high amounts of UPFs can have up to 50% higher risk of developing obesity, and some specific UPFs are linked to increases in cancer. I see it even in my clinic. So many of my pediatric patients are over-consuming UPFs, and it's becoming a growing problem across the country. Consumer Reports even dedicated a special feature highlighting the problems with Lunchables and why they shouldn't be consumed regularly due to health risks. My own take on Lunchables: I don't recommend parents pack them for their kids on a daily basis. A low-quality food with poor nutritional value. But now what about Lunchly? Starting with the first claim, in the press release announced.
Before we get into that, I had no idea the Lunchables were that bad for you. I mean, it kind of makes sense when you think about how much processed food is actually inside of it, but it's like, to think, like, you're thinking, okay, I'm eating cheese, cracker, and ham, like, obviously not for you.
Turkey one.
Turkey for you, white turkey, of course. But you don't think that just because I'm consuming this that I'm actually eating something that's really got zero nutritional value?
It's weird. I mean, it makes sense because, like, pre our recent inflation crisis we've had, these are like $1.19, $1.20, including the other brands that are mentioning, the somewhat ones.
We still can afford it.
That's right. However, $1.19 for something that's supposed to be turkey, like actual protein. I mean, you probably get a huge on just the protein, less calories, obviously, and less other macros. A cheese stick's probably $1. It has most cheese sticks have 8 grams of protein basically.
Yeah,
get
that's
a low
true.
fat one if you want a low fat one. It's a good way to actually get those extra macros in, because protein consumption can be real hard to stack up on. But I think is interesting is there's something we covered in a consumer behavior class when I was an undergrad, and even my research class that I'm in right now. One of the biggest ethical issues and liabilities of research or marketing claims is surrounded around children, because thank God we still protect our kids with labeling and some regulation. Well, not enough, clearly, in this stupid world.
At all.
In many cases, obviously. Everyone has something that's coming to mind right now. You have to be very careful. So the claims of health here I'm very concerned about, because you legitimately have to be we're more likely to get sued for false labeling on children's products.
Yeah. And with that in mind, just thinking about the fact that Mr. Beast is obviously heavily involved with this and how much we like Mr. Beast, excuse my language, I'm just surprised that he really took that angle as far as like his marketing of saying like going for the new better for you or healthier option. It's like, I think he could have gone a different way that wouldn't have put him in such hot water. Like, he could have easily just gone and leaned into the fact that he's Mr. Beast and just basically played off of that as far as like, oh, and we're doing these type of things with this, or we have Lunchly codes and stuff that he's done with like Feastables. Like, he had a very
better than this. Feastables, how many times did he criticize Hershey?
He criticized them a lot in terms of just taste, but not in nutritional value.
No, yeah, I'm saying like criticize Lunchables or Oscar Mayer or any of the other ones for being worse in taste, or kids like this brand less or something, right?
Exactly.
Just do that. I mean, you have to be careful. Even in the UK, KSI's whole team in Sidemen, they launched a cereal this year, or last year. I have 2 flavors so far. It's called Best Cereal. Large disclaimer at the bottom of the box. We're not saying this is the best out of no means, because we don't measure or test that. Guys, again, you get sued for that kind of stuff. And parents, hopefully, if you're a parent, I know it's a lot. You have a lot of stuff on the world. Check some of the labels for your kids, and thank you for the ones who do, because that's why we get all the bad companies sued usually. This company, let's see what's going on here.
Yeah, let's see.
Announcing the product, Logan Paul was quoted as saying Lunchly is a healthier alternative and that it's a better for you lunch option compared to Lunchables. In fact, throughout the Lunchly website and the social media promo posts, you'll see countless comparisons being made to Lunchables. To be honest, some of the comparisons are kind of cringe and don't make much sense to me, but maybe that's because I'm not the target demo. Flavorful combos versus standard picks? The meal kit combos are nearly identical to Lunchables. Big gesture characters versus mid moments. I certainly don't remember that lesson in my nutrition classes. I was more concerned with the nutritional comparisons being made anyway, so if someone was to make a healthy meal kit for kids, I would find that incredibly valuable. And in looking in the comparison, I'd be most interested in calories.
I guess he's just going through them.
I would find that incredibly valuable. And in looking...
So what do we got here? We got Lunchly's, the pizza. This is, I'm assuming the pepperoni by the picture of it. 360 calories per package. And $3.90 for Lunchables pizza with pepperoni meal kit with Capri Sun, fruit punch, drink, and a Crunch candy bar. Shout out Crunch, a bit of an underrated candy. Protein, 1 lunch gram protein per package, at least on average.
Why is that is it supposed to be a good thing?
To be fair, if they're marketing to kids, they're probably going to go with the less calories, and then I'm assuming the electrolytes, because they're calling it that versus potassium, sodium, magnesium, anything individually. Yeah. And that's per Prime flavor in each Lunchly pack versus the per Capri Sun. I'd like to note something. I don't know if Dr. Mike goes through it. What does Prime say they are?
They say that they're a hydration drink.
What does Capri Sun never said they are?
Never said they were once a hydration drink.
I've never once seen that in a Roaring Mountain packet of Capri Sun.
Yeah, which is why it's even more interesting to me that because clearly you're picking your battles here, right? You're picking which categories you want to compare yourself into, which is why I think it's even more weird that you chose to compare yourself in protein if you have a gram less. Like, what's the idea behind saying we have less protein? That's something that's kind of lost on me, but...
I'm assuming it means it's comparable. It's a comp. It's almost there.
Okay.
I don't know what the average... I guess it goes by age as well, because it's a weird development age, because puberty probably spikes it, but I don't know how much protein, on average, a child should be consuming daily.
Yeah, there might be a...
There's probably some FDA, right?
Could be. Although I do like that there's a lot less sugar, but it's also like... Sugar's one of those things that's really tricky, because you also have to look at carbs as well, because people don't like to talk about how carbs are really just sugar in a pre-state. Once it breaks down in your body, it's straight sugar anyway, so it's like...
And then if it's carbs,
where are we with that?
Does Lunchables have a higher fiber content? I'm not arguing it would. I don't recall it, but carbs minus fiber equals net carbs.
Yeah.
So there's that. Yeah, I honestly don't know. It's weird. I guess let's just. Oh wait, hang on. What's that say down there?
Lunchables Capri Sun or see nutrition panel for total fat, saturated fat, and sodium content.
So we're gonna talk about the electrolytes, not the sodium content.
Yeah, that was one thing that I had seen mentioned. Is a lot of people aren't liking the fact that they're talking about how all this sodium is just.
It's cut. Okay, continue.
They're talking about how. Thanks for letting them know. No,
we have multiple. That's fine.
They were talking about how they were basically advertising straight sodium as their electrolyte or their main electrolyte, and it's like sodium is a good electrolyte within reason in terms of a reasonable amount, but it shouldn't be the main electrolyte in your hydration drink. So
I think I have a video for it actually queued up next for Prime actually.
Looking in the comparison, I'd be most interested in calories, which they have, protein, which they have, sugar, which they have, saturated fat, which is missing, and sodium, which is not only missing, but replaced by electrolytes. And unlike all the other macros, is only labeled potassium and only in the Prime bottle in the kit, comparing it to the Capri Sun in the Lunchables. This is a pretty weird marketing choice to label electrolytes in food products. It's such a strange choice that it even stunned fellow Dr. Brian Suterer, who tweeted,
"Sodium getting rebranded as electrolytes will be taught in marketing textbooks one day."
And sadly was ashamed to see Logan attack instead of starting a meaningful dialogue with the doctor, given that 400 milligrams is not the amount of electrolytes in Prime, at least in the image that Logan shared. 400 milligrams of potassium plus 5 milligrams of sodium equals 405 milligrams of electrolytes. It's not about nitpicking, it's just about being reasonable and honest to help further the conversation. Look, if I want to decide if a food is right for me, I like to be able to compare the entire electrolyte profile, which would have to include sodium. It's like having a PB&J sandwich label that says what's in the sandwich, protein, fats, calories, but then the sugar line only tells you what's in the peanut butter as opposed to the jelly in the entire sandwich. I wanted to go further and do the comparisons myself using the nutrition facts from the Lunchables and Lunchly websites, and it's honestly really hard to draw perfectly clear conclusions for several reasons. One, I don't have nutrition facts for each part of the kits. For example, how many calories come from Feastables versus the food component. Second, some of the portion sizes aren't the same. The turkey cracker kit from Lunchables is 82 grams, while Lunchly's is 72 grams. 3, there are so many varieties of Lunchables that just swapping out the flavor of Capri Sun caused significant differences in sugar and calorie content. What I was able to there are so many varieties of Lunchables that just swapping out the flavor of Capri Sun caused significant differences in sugar and calorie content. What I was able to conclude is that Lunchly has less sugar and therefore less calories than Lunchables in comparable kits. That's probably due to the drink component of the kit, as Capri Sun uses sugar and Prime is artificially sweetened. Lunchly has significantly more potassium than Lunchables because of the Prime drink, which I guess is good, but not something I'd regularly use in deciding if a food is an ideal lunch for a kid. Lunchly has slightly less sodium and saturated fat than comparable Lunchables. That's definitely moving in the right direction, however, both differences were fairly small. Lunchly does use real cheese as opposed to cheese product, signaling that at least one ingredient is less processed than in Lunchables, but the entirety of the kit is still considered an ultra-processed meal. Lunchly has higher amounts of A and B vitamins, which can be good, but also can be problematic as vitamin A is a fat-soluble vitamin, and kids can easily overconsume it, leading to toxicity. Being that it's fat-soluble means that you can't just urinate excess out. This has actually been raised as an issue by experts with Prime in general. Despite these legitimate upgrades, social media posts are slamming Lunchly for not being perfect. But Lunchly does not need to be perfect to be valuable for kids. It just needs to be significantly healthier in order to reduce risk. As a doctor, I use risk reduction all the time, essentially taking something harmful and replacing it with something less harmful, but still imperfect. As an example, I would never recommend starting vaping, but getting someone to replace smoking cigarettes with vaping is generally a good step down in terms of health risk. Knowing all that, is it fair to say that Lunchly is healthier? I guess one can say yes, but honestly, probably more so as a marketing tactic. The reason why? Well, let's look at the recently passed nutrition standards set forth by the USDA for school lunches and see how Lunchly...
Before we get to that part, I'm actually pretty surprised with what we're finding out as we're kind of looking into this. Like, it's really disappointing to see that they're being so... I don't want to say they're being deceptive, but I do want to say that the way that they're presenting the information is not something that I feel like is just truthful in terms of what the actual result is. Because making these comparisons, I didn't even realize that Lunchly is giving you less food anyway. So even making that comparison directly to each other is already wrong to begin with.
Yeah, you have to do some quick math and...
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, if you're going to compare, you have to at least let us know that it's less and that this is the comparison that you're using. But yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that a lot. I don't like that at all. And what do you think about that? Like, I know you're the marketing guy, so I know you understand, like...
This is... You guys don't know. He hears me rant about this all the time. I used to work in education. Probably my most proudest moments career-wise. So when I see stuff like this, it really irritates me. Because there's always so many issues that it's never the kid's fault, right? And we heard it growing up, and this is a weird analogy to kind of give, but how often have you heard an older person say, well, you kids in this, or you kids in this, right? Or your generation does this. Mm-hmm. Who raised us? Either they did it and they're taking fault, or they didn't and they should take fault for that, because why did you abandon a child, right? Yeah. In my case, that was basically that. So, I hate it, honestly. I don't know how the product is, taste, whatever, but just the stuff Dr. Mike's talking about where it seems almost deceptive. Also, if it's 405 grams and you're saying 400, it's not like it's hiding something that's supposedly worse.
Right.
But it's, at that point, you're factually mislabeling nutritional facts on a children's product. So hopefully version 2 of packaging, they clean that up for total electrolytes, or they put 2-3 asterisks saying, hey, only potassium. But yeah, that's not good. I imagine there might be some kids who also have some sort of insensitivity to certain electrolytes or certain I mean, we can be insensitive to sugars, proteins, everything, right? I mean, look at diabetes. It's pretty much just glucose issues.
Yeah, it's true.
I don't think the 5 grams makes a big difference to me, at least, but it might to some kid who has to, like, figure out the differences. It could be a small percentage of children. I'm not a pediatric specialist, obviously. I'm an idiot who studied marketing. But I would like to see some more clarity on that in the future, because there's a lot of children you meet that have a lot of things going on. And a lot of it is because of our poor food nutrition that we have, whether it's the parents when they're trying to conceive or how they were brought up, and it becomes genetic and environmental later on, or just what the kid is born with.
Yep.
So I think that's an issue in my perspective.
I definitely am not liking that part of it at all, because it's just, anytime it comes with kids, it's just obviously, as it should be, 1,000 times more sensitive, because they aren't able to make their own decisions, and they're not able to really make informed decisions a lot of the times, and they're relying on the parents. And so seeing things like this, especially like this quick hit, let me just give you the quick breakdown about why we're better, and not really go into depth as to like what this comparison is based on and the things that we're leaving out. That annoys me for the parent that's a single parent and just doesn't have time to really like go further into this or do all the research. They just like, okay, I'm seeing this, it looks better, and it's probably going to be great for my kid, and he wants it, it's his favorite YouTuber. And it's like, I'm not here to say like Mr. Beast is he's not a nutritionist. I don't expect him to always be like, oh, this is the healthiest product ever. I mean, he made a chocolate bar, but it's just like, don't advertise it as healthier if it's not actually healthier, and just don't advertise health at all if you're making a product that is got so much processed elements that, like he said, it's able to be still like labeled as an ultra processed food. Like, just don't even bring health into the advertisement of it at all.
The idea of better for you around children, just that phrase in general, even outside of nutrition, I hate. I mean, you've been there, seeing me work with several different school districts. You know my horror stories of seeing parents who will work hard, because we came from low-income school districts.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a single parent, sometimes it's two parents, both working hard, don't want to see a kid too much, just so they can put food on the table for the kid, and they trust that the kid at school is learning what's better for them. And unfortunately, the people who suffer the most, not just the teachers who get very little support, it trickles all the way down into our kids suffering. And when I see any idea of this is something better for kids, because I've heard it so much, and then I see some factual inaccuracies, but they're basically putting lipstick on a pig here, that absolutely irritates me. Just gonna be honest.
Yeah, I feel like it's just one of those
That's
things.
one of those things where professional speaking Medi is completely out the window. I can promise you that.
They don't see that side of you, Med, unless they watch Life Team. All right, let's play the video.
Try to come on there.
Compares. Going line by line here. Less than 10% of calories should come from saturated fat. Lunchly turkey, 23% of calories come from saturated fat. Less than 10% of calories should come from added sugars. Lunchly turkey, 10.4 comes from added sugars.
All right, I want to give a second's reaction at this real quick. So this is a real breakdown of what we should be doing.
I did not know. You know what? I'm gonna run this by a friend of mine who has a little daughter and see how much he pays attention to this, and if his pediatric doctor recommends this or an alternate.
But this is where things get really interesting, and for some reason no one has pointed this out. You see,
It's lagging a little bit, though.
That was insane. Did our Wi-Fi just shut off? Did the beat go off?
Trying to make sure the stream itself isn't lagging. Where are you at? This is not. What are we?
Wow, moving.
Are we over here? No, I'm trying to see where this stream is at, because this isn't even when we're watching the video yet. Okay, that's interesting.
Apparently we have excellent connection.
Apparently not. Okay, well, this one is caught up, but this one ain't. So before we started lagging, this was closed. So let me just close that. Maybe I'm doing too much.
USDA caloric guidelines say that a lunch meal for kids K through 8 should contain around 625 calories. Kids need energy to function, and calories give them that energy. Lunchly turkey contains only 230 calories, which would mean a kid would need to eat about 2.7 portions to consume enough calories. And if they did that, they'd get nearly 1,300 milligrams of sodium, which is also significantly over the USDA standards. So they'd be either under-eating calories or overeating sodium. Finally,
You said 2.3 of those?
Yeah, 2.3 servings.
Now, is that caloric amount for? It can't be per meal. The caloric amount.
I don't know.
That has to be a daily limit,
Yeah,
right?
it
Because
could be for the
realistically,
day,
How many meals is the kid getting per day? I know
What
it's
do you
recommended
specify?
3, but I mean, I got 2 meals a day.
Just an extra 5 day. It doesn't specify if this is for like per meal or per day.
Daily amount.
Daily amount. Okay, so this is per day.
Lines say that a lunch meal for kids K through 8 should contain around
Giving your kid lunchlies all day, lunch, dinner. Wow.
Yeah, that's one thing that is worth noting. It's just like that. This has never been advertised and meant to be like your entire meal all the time. It's only supposed to be one meal. So I think this part might be a little bit unfair of a comparison. Let's stop slapping on the table because it's probably messing with the mic. But this part is probably an unfair comparison because, yeah, it's not. This meal isn't meant to be like your entire intake of calories or nutrition for the entire day. So I would say maybe this part itself isn't fair if he's simply saying like that's what a kid would need to do for the entire day, because that's not what this product is designed for.
That's true. A portion of it, though, I mean, 2.3, that means each one is worth what? Close to maybe 42%?
Yeah.
43%?
No, 2.3.
Yeah. If you need 2.3 servings of this to reach 100%, each meal is what, 43?
Yeah, close, yeah.
Or 0.3.
It's about that.
It's around 40.
So you're getting almost 50% per meal of what you're supposed to be getting for the entire day in one meal, which I don't know what what specialists recommend how many meals a kid should be eating a day. I mean, I know we have 3, but I don't know if that's what you're supposed to be doing or what. But I mean, if you're supposed to ideally have 3 meals a day, getting almost 50% of your calories from one meal.
To be so honest, if you likely can only afford to just do this quickly for your kids because you don't have time, it's time to apply for free and reduced school lunch. I'm sorry for slapping the table. It's time to apply for free and reduced school lunch. I'm so used to doing this when I talk and make points. It's so annoying.
Do it in the air, man. Do it in the air so you look like you're DJing nothing. Just
Yeah, as if I don't already look like Vic Star enough. Now I got a DJ.
I didn't even know Vic Star DJ.
Got some bangers, actually. He's been on tour across the world.
Oh, shout out to Vic.
Yeah. All right, let's continue.
around 625 calories. Kids need energy to function, and calories give them that energy. Lunchly turkey contains only 230 calories, which would mean a kid would need to eat about 2.7 portions to consume enough calories. And if they did that, they'd get nearly 1,300 milligrams of sodium, which is also significantly over the USDA standards. So they'd be either under-eating calories or overeating sodium. Finally, the grain guidelines state that 80% of lunch meals must be whole grain, and Lunchly Turkey does not list any whole grain ingredients. It's clear Lunchly, just like Lunchables, misses the mark too many times to be considered meaningfully healthier, at least in my opinion. That being said, I do think many criticisms pointed at Logan, KSI, and Jimmy are unfair. Attacking them for trying to create a successful influencer product isn't inherently problematic. I just think if a company was truly interested in creating a healthier lunch kit for kids, the USDA standards should be the minimum starting requirements. Otherwise, we're simply propagating the problem even further. One of my hopes is that in navigating the future feedback on this company, the guys hire a health professional to guide them in making messaging more accurate. I just saw someone ask about heavy metal contamination, and Logan responded with a video of an X-ray machine checking for foreign materials. That checks for stray objects accidentally getting into the meals, not heavy metal contaminations like we discussed earlier with Lunchables and lead. And saying a food has more electrolytes, therefore it must be better or healthier, just not true. Foods with an incredibly high sodium content and electrolyte are not considered particularly healthy. In fact, many are considered unhealthy for that reason. I can't expect non-medical people to get this perfect, but if you're gonna stand by a children's food product being healthy, you need to hold your messaging to a higher standard. Eating a diet full of UPFs can lead to weight gain. Click here to see the harsh reality of life at 800 pounds, and as always, stay happy and healthy.
So, any niece or nephew I babysit, I could not buy Lunchly for, possibly.
As long as you don't let them eat anything else, then you gotta give them 2.7 Lunchleys and know that they're good, but they're probably gonna have sodium overdose.
Can we quickly look up the recommended limit for sodium for children in a day?
All right, let's do K through 8 like they did.
Let's go to USDA actually.
I saw a little something. Where's that table?
Current requirements for sodium in school meals.
Well,
That's a school meal.
yeah. So is this over?
Well, that's per meal. They're under that, obviously.
Yeah.
Basically, he said 1,300, right?
Yeah.
So 1,300 divided by 2.7 is 481.48 grams of sodium per lunchly.
Lunchable. Dang. Or lunchly, sorry.
Which I guess there might be a slight variance depending on which lunchly itself.
That's interesting. Okay.
Why did USDA decide to implement one sodium reduction for school lunch? It's bad for you if you have too much?
Yeah, probably not the best thing for you.
Okay, but that same
If a parent
doctor-
came into my doctor's office,
That same doctor that was mentioned in the last tweet, check out the last video we just reacted to.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one who put out a video called The Truth About Electrolytes, Prime and Lunchly. And I figured this might be somewhat a Dr. Mike cover, but specifically focusing on electrolytes for 15 minutes. I want to see if there's something that we haven't noticed yet.
Okay. 15 minutes. We're going to make it probably 75 with how often we stop.
if a parent came into my doctor's office, I would not recommend that their child drink this for lunch. But I also wouldn't recommend that they drink this, or even something like this. In fact, I wouldn't recommend anybody just drink hydration electrolyte beverages for the heck of it. We've become so obsessed with shoving electrolytes down people's throats, and it's time to talk about it. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Dr. Brian Suter. My goal in this channel is to teach you about the medical side of the sports world, and that includes the current topic with these hydration drinks. Now, all of this is being spurned because of Logan Paul, Mr. Beast, and KSI launching their new food, Lunchly. I think I'm saying it right. After Logan shared this image highlighting the nutritional contents and specifically calling out electrolytes compared to a Lunchable and how much better it was with all these electrolytes, I made this little joke about sodium getting rebranded as electrolytes because that's really what's happened. We've taken things like sodium, potassium that historically have been thought of in a very respectable fashion, something you have to do respectable amounts of and be cautious with, is now just considered electrolytes, and it's this big positive amazing thing all the time. Logan seemed to take offense to my tweet here, calling me a sports medicine doctor, saying that I can't tell the difference between sodium and potassium. Logan, I assure you I can. I understand the basics of hydration here, and we're gonna talk about it and dive into this and just my opinion, and not my opinion but the science on what the deal is with this. And then Mr. Beast, this was something that he posted on his account, and this is really the highlight, the crux of this. More electrolytes, Lunchables, yes, hundreds of millions of units, their product, 80 less calories, 60% less sugar, more electrolytes. So they're advertising that more electrolytes are good, and that is the fundamental problem here in the lack of misunderstanding with electrolytes and hydration that has frankly gotten out of control with just this electrolyte hydration beverage market. Yes, there's no doubt that our bodies need proper amounts of electrolytes to function. Electrolytes are crucial. Things like sodium, potassium, chloride, calcium, magnesium, for the function of literally almost everything in our body, muscles, nerves. You have to have proper levels of all those electrolytes. If they become too high, you have problems. If they become too low, you have problems. Generally speaking, our bodies do a very, very good job of managing the proper balance of electrolytes. We shouldn't have to rely on external supplementation of electrolytes beyond our food for just normal daily healthy function. And that's part of my initial argument here. You don't need to drink electrolyte drinks just as part of daily life. There is no reason that you should be consuming Gatorade, Liquid IV, Prime, Body Armor, any of these electrolyte drinks. They're not necessary for your average regular healthy person to just sit and have for lunch, dinner, breakfast, or as a snack. I'm not a hypocrite though. I've had my fair share of these at times with meals, but I'm saying when you're trying to advertise and market it as something that is like okay or better to have a bunch of electrolytes, that's where I think you have to be really careful and make sure people have the right impression. If we look at the ingredients label here for Prime, just for example, they advertise on the side of the bottle that there are 834 milligrams of electrolytes. But what does that mean? It's primarily potassium. It's, if you look at here, 700 milligrams of potassium, 124 milligrams of magnesium, and only 10 milligrams of sodium, which is going to be extremely important for when we talk about the actual purpose and the actual value of these electrolyte hydration beverages. This is essentially a lot of potassium. It's basically flavored coconut water. That's the number 2 ingredient, is coconut water, and that's where you get a lot of that potassium. So yes, it has a lot of electrolytes, but is that good? What does that mean? Are they the right electrolytes? Are they too many? Are they too few? And when's the right time to consume them? If we compare to, the granddaddy of them all, electrolyte drinks here, Gatorade, which again, I'm not saying Gatorade is any better in these circumstances. The one improvement that I think with Gatorade is that it has more sodium, 270 milligrams of sodium compared to 10 with Prime. Now, Gatorade also has sugar, but sugar is important when it comes to hydration because our body cells actually uptake more water and these electrolytes whenever sugar is along for the ride with this co-transport. So you actually want some sugar in your beverage when you're trying to aggressively rehydrate. So just because Gatorade has sugar doesn't mean that Gatorade is bad, but we all consider Gatorade as bad because it has calories and sugar, whereas something like Prime is marketed as great and good because it has all these chock full electrolytes, more than Gatorade, but no sugar. That's not as simple as it really is. You look at other things out there on the market. So Element, which, full disclosure, I've done some sponsored ads for Element in the past. I think it's a great product, especially for those high intense sweating exercise bouts that we'll talk about later. But Element, 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and 60 of magnesium. So you compare that with Prime. Now, both of these are considering themselves to be hydration, electrolyte drinks in that space. One has 10 milligrams of sodium, one has 1,000 milligrams of sodium. One has 700 of potassium, 200 of potassium. When you have such extremes in what is being found in these beverages, you have to question what is actually appropriate and what is necessary at the right time. I have no problem whatsoever if Prime and these other drinks, but Prime especially with their marketing we'll talk about, was being marketed as just a low-calorie, tasty coconut water. That's what it is. That's essentially what this is. And if it was marketed as such, I don't think there would be a lot of pushback and criticism. The challenge is that it's marketed with professional elite athletes consuming it as this optimal hydration electrolyte beverage that is good for you when you're exercising, good for your health, good for your hydration. And so they're advertising it like it has these benefits with hydration that simply don't hold up when you look at the science based on the actual electrolyte composition. Now, that doesn't mean that something like Gatorade is 100% perfect either, but the specific thing with Prime...
There's something here is saying that I honestly agree with, and I think it gets abused a little bit. Use this when you're losing electrolytes.
Right.
And I guess he's going to hint at more of it towards the end of it, but I just want to ask you, as somebody who drinks, right now you're having Moss Plus by Messi.
Not sponsored. Use
No.
code please sponsor us to get nothing.
I already said you're the goat over Cristiano. Send the money over away. Now here's
Have you seen our comment section? Right.
Feel free to let us know who you think is better.
We haven't even uploaded the video yet.
When you see it though, and you see this clip, if you want to at me, at the Jst Szn account only. I want numbers. So here's the deal.
This guy.
I'm
on
farming.
Instagram, X, and all of you.
See, we're farming. You don't need to disclose what you do, obviously, for work or anything. It's nothing bad. It's just wants to always talk about what they do for a job. However, you work in something that causes...
Let's just say I'm getting the basil bucks.
Basically. You're working out in the heat constantly. You run back and forth, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes residential, sometimes your neighborhoods and all the stuff going on here. You're someone who probably would benefit at the end of the day or during halfway through your shift, especially in Texas heat, of replenishing electrolytes, right?
Of course.
If you weren't doing that, would you consume as many electrolytes in terms of extra products outside of what you consume to your food?
See, now you're putting me in a difficult position because now I feel like I have to give what would be the correct answer versus what I would do. See, me personally, I would probably still drink electrolyte drinks just because I enjoy them, and I naturally, as my body type, for whatever reason, and I have to go more into it by meeting up with medical professionals and stuff, but I know my body doesn't retain water well, so I know that naturally I'm better off if I want to actually stay hydrated to use an electrolyte drink because it's going to force my body to absorb the water. Now, naturally, people that don't have that problem, I wouldn't recommend to do that. But for me personally, I probably still would. I just wouldn't do them as often.
See, and that is my point. Because of my work, I largely work from home, and in my other gig I just started, I'm mainly standing around at a retail situation.
Right.
So, I'm not really putting in as much actual excruciating or hard work. So I'm not sweating as much. I'm indoors at all times. Rather sedentary lifestyle. Kind of some differences here between the two of us. Because of that, this is rare. I'm only drinking this because, as he knows, I've been sick past few days, so I need to replenish my electrolytes. Outside of that, you only drink these when you need to supplement yourself with this. Your average food intake, hopefully, also just season your food, it helps with some of this stuff, will actually go ahead and help you with what your actual nutritional needs are. These aren't necessary, is the point I'm trying to get to.
And the even bigger underlying point that you made, season your food, you know. Please just
season.
Just season.
Salt counts, but add more. You
Yeah,
can get potassium.
don't just leave salt alone on there unless you're making a brisket and you're adding her girlfriend pepper. Don't just only salt something.
And if you're not good at making brisket, you need some more practice until it's okay. Make a good sauce. And then you get to the point. You don't need sauce. We want to get you there.
You know what I want to do in the future? Since we're doing one of these streams, I think it would be cool if
Barbecue
we could...
mukbang?
Why do you ruin everything?
No? Okay, sorry.
I wanted to do us actually smoking a brisket and doing like a, an 8-hour smoke, seeing if we can stream for like maybe 4 of those hours, because 8 sounds like a lot, but maybe if we have the content for it, we could do something where we're actually like walking through the process, but we would have to have a lot of other stuff lined up. But I think that'd be cool. What do you think?
I'm down.
All right.
People with smokers in land who are actual family or friend members of ours, because I don't want random people doing this. Hit us up. I'm not going to your house if I don't know you.
I think the family members that offered us to film at their house anytime, I think they have a smoke.
They do? Okay. If not,
Yeah,
I was going to go with, who my boss call is when it comes to barbecue.
Yeah. There's an old Texas legend. Let's just say that.
There's some old historic families in the state.
Is that it doesn't have the amount of sodium that you need for optimal hydration, specifically with sweat loss. And so it's really important to distinguish the different scenarios where people are consuming these beverages. Again, I don't think there's a reason that anybody should be consuming these beverages for like the health benefits necessarily just at lunch or breakfast or when you're not exercising and exerting yourself or trying to replenish because of true dehydration. We've lost this sort of edge between what we think is optimal hydration and true dehydration, where people think that you have to just chug and pound electrolytes and water to stay healthy, but that's not necessarily the case. Like I said, a lot of people, our bodies do a very good job of managing our sodium, our potassium, our chloride, our electrolytes without this need for external supplementation. The need for external supplementation comes into effect whenever our body is losing excessive amounts of these electrolytes that we're not adequately able to replace through food and diet alone. That's what these electrolyte drinks are from. That's why Gatorade was developed, to replenish the salt lost in sweat in those hot summer days down in Florida. Now, the average person, when they exercise and sweat, the number one electrolyte that you're losing is sodium chloride specifically. That's what gives that salty taste. You're not losing a lot of potassium in your sweat. It's primarily salt. And it's varied.
Because in Florida heat, the University of Florida Gators and the SEC, we're coming for you, brother. November 7th, I think. That's right. So basically, science is formulated, hey, these guys are getting tired in the Florida heat. What if we can help them replenish? So they went through a couple of basic ideas, and it was basically like a salted water solution, and it was made originally for the Florida Gators. This eventually became a product named Gatorade. So yeah, it started down in Gainesville.
I had no idea.
You see what the SEC does? It just means more.
Shout out to them. That's crazy.
From one person to the other, but on average you lose around 900 to 950 milligrams of sodium per liter of sweat. And some people, depending on the intensity of their exercise, may lose multiple liters of sweat. So you could potentially be losing multiple grams of sodium if you are excessively sweating with exercise. So then you think, well, how am I going to replace that sodium? And that's where these electrolyte and sports drinks, hydration drinks, come into play. And so you would think you want to have a lot of sodium to replace that potentially 1, 2, 3 grams of sodium that are lost. And that's why these drinks historically have salt. That's why Gatorade, when you look at just your standard, this is not the low calorie, the electrolyte Gatorade, 270 milligrams, not as high as something like Element, which is going to have 1,000 milligrams of sodium, but at least there is sodium compared to the 10 milligrams found in this blue raspberry bottle of Prime. Simply put, drinking Prime, if you're excessively sweating to try and replenish your sodium, is not going to adequately replenish your sodium compared to a different beverage. This Body Armor Light is the same way, though, to be honest. It's only got 20 milligrams of sodium, so twice the sodium of Prime. And the reason these drinks don't have a lot of sodium in them is because, of course, that makes it not taste very good. If you've ever had Element, I think Element is one of the best things you can have for really heavy sweat loss and replacing your electrolytes. It tastes salty. But guess what? When you're excessively losing sweat, you need to replenish that salt. So I have a really hard time believing that when we...
This is so irrelevant, I understand. Is that an Andrew Luck jersey on skeleton?
Number 12 goes probably.
This is super random, sorry. It's football season, people. Things matter.
Yeah, we're doing this for the food, but also for the football.
Yeah, Andrew Luck. Stanford's own. Shout out Andrew. Wish your career wasn't ruined by the terrible management of O-lines.
Trash.
Great argument.
See that drinks like Prime are being marketed as the official sponsors of things like UFC, professional soccer, football clubs, elite athletes. I would hope that those elite athletes are not actually relying on something like Prime to replenish their electrolytes with exercise. Because again, while it's not in and of itself a bad beverage, I'm not saying it's like gonna cause all this harm and is some terrible drink. It doesn't have the adequate sodium that is necessary in those high-level sports excessive sweating scenarios to adequately replenish it. And so it sends this kind of mixed message with what you truly need in your electrolyte drink compared to what your body is losing and what is in your electrolyte drink. Let's talk a little bit next about the...
Before we move on from the sodium, I kind of wish he was more clear about, because we're talking about how much of each ingredient is actually necessary. He kind of hints at like the more sodium the better, but I also know like intuitively there has to be a limit for like how much sodium is too much sodium. And to me, intuitively, I'm thinking like 1,000 milligrams of sodium is a lot. I mean, it's really just 1 gram, but still, it's like.
Well, I gotta imagine it's also because you're burning more. It's like how, what's the standard diet they recommend, right? Calorically, 2,000 for men.
Yeah, in that range.
Even though it's so much fluctuation based off your
lifestyle.
lifestyle.
On height, weight, that type of thing.
And if you're a swimmer, like let's say Michael Phelps, you're probably consuming 20,000 calories a day when he was in his prime. So it's probably something like that they have to factor in. When you look at your favorite athletes doing that, they have team nutritionists who do the blood work constantly. They do so much stuff. They work with them. They do more work than honestly any of us probably do with our doctors outside of an annual checkup or something like that. So if you're interested in what works better for you, ask your doctor if you can get a referral for it. Hopefully you have healthcare. If not, open enrollment soon here in America. Go ahead and have some blood work done. Speak with a nutritionist, some proper dietetics, and have them work on your blood to help figure out what are you kind of more likely to need and how you can balance yourself out if you feel like you're not having enough electrolytes in your system.
All right. Good advice from my boy MediMed.
Sugar, because if you actually look at some really well-founded science, there is something called an oral rehydration solution. Oral rehydration therapies were developed with the World Health Organization to specifically replenish fluid and electrolytes lost primarily in cases of diarrhea, where when you have excessive diarrhea, your gut is not able to reuptake the sodium in the water effectively, and so you can die from dehydration. This oral rehydration therapy is a solution of sugar and salt that's specifically measured to give the optimal concentration of really maximizing what your gut can reuptake into its cells to really rapidly work on good hydration in places where you might not be able to put in IVs. A lot of the drinks out there will actually base their formulas on this oral rehydration formula, this recipe, because it's been shown in literature time and time again to be a very good and effective way of successfully trying to orally rehydrate somebody that is having severe dehydration. Now, this is not, again, something that you should go like drink for lunch, but this is what is going to be recommended in those severe cases of true dehydration, electrolyte loss, where it could be very harmful and potentially fatal. And so you can make these. I think actually, I want to say that Liquid IV is fairly similar to this. You know, they've got a picture here of Drip Drop. And so there are a lot of commercially available oral rehydration solutions out there, and they have sugar, they have salt, because in order for your cells in your intestine to uptake more water, uptake more salt, there's actually a co-transporter with glucose. So having glucose on board physiologically helps your body reuptake more fluid and more of that salt. And so that's why you want sugar in there, because that helps with reabsorption. So if I'm going to drink something optimal, I want a little bit of sugar in there because I want to help support that co-transport of salt, water, sugar to get more optimal rehydration. So I'd actually argue that sometimes having some sugar is good in those situations of trying to really aggressively rehydrate. So we've just like all kind of lost our way with electrolytes, right? We all think that because of this marketing that like more electrolytes are good, right? Mr. Beast tweet, it's got more electrolytes, and so somehow that implies that it's better. But for a product that is intended to be eaten for lunch, there is no reason that the average kid that's going to eat a Lunchly needs to have more electrolytes. But that's used as like this marketing point to try and sell more of it because we think that more is better. But I'm here to tell you that in those cases, you don't need a bunch of electrolytes. Now, I will admit, if your choices are to either drink a Capri Sun or to drink a Prime, it's probably better to drink a Prime. But ideally, I'd rather you drink neither of them and drink a water. So yeah, you can argue that it's a healthier option than drinking a Capri Sun, but that doesn't mean that it's healthy, and there's not something that I think is just as good, cheaper, and better for your body, which for those situations for lunch, just drink water. If you want to talk about what to drink with excessive sweat loss in those situations of intense sport where you're out in the heat, where you're sweating, where you legitimately should have and want an electrolyte replacement beverage, make sure you're consuming something with salt. Salt is important. Salt is what you're going to be losing. There are a lot of different things out there to look at. Element, Body Armor, Gatorade, Prime, we'll put it in there. But it's important because of what your body loses in your sweat that you are making sure you replenish your salt. Yes, salt tastes salty. It's not going to be as delicious of a drink, but it's necessary to replenish that salt when you are losing a lot with sweating. It's also good to have some sugar in there because that sugar is going to help with reuptake of that water. It's going to have that co-transport with the sodium, which helps pull the water in behind it. Hydration is not that complicated. We've made it so complicated with all these different brands and products and drinks and electrolyte counts and this and that. If you're thirsty, drink water. Eat a well-balanced diet of food. Your body will do a just fine job of managing its electrolytes unless you have a true underlying health problem. If you're exercising, you're excessively sweating, then I think it's okay to drink a well-rounded electrolyte sports beverage that you enjoy the taste of, preferably something with some sodium. That's it for the video, everybody. Let me know any questions or comments down.
Okay.
Wow, okay.
So it kind of answered my question about, because I went into this kind of wondering what I mentioned earlier about like how much sodium is too much sodium. Didn't really specify as much as I wanted to, but it did kind of relieve my anxiety about it a bit, about in terms of like drinking too much sodium whenever you really, really need the electrolytes. But since like I said, am a almost daily electrolyte intaker, I usually go for electrolyte waters, to be honest. So I'm not sure how much of a difference that makes. I know sometimes usually they have a lot less of each of the things. They don't really have as much sodium. They have like a little bit of sodium, but a little bit of potassium, a little bit of magnesium, but mainly it's just water with a high pH balance.
I actually have the opposite deal. I drink sports drinks when I need them, right? Mm-hmm. But I'll often go for the zero version. However, now I'm wondering how much of a co-transport artificial sweeteners are compared to traditional sugar. I don't necessarily have insulin issues, but genetically exposed to prediabetes and a few other things, so I try to be careful about it, until healthcare kicks in and I go see actually somebody for it. So try to be careful about that kind of stuff. Done the keto before for sugar and carbs. Somewhat effective. That's a different conversation. So I'm kind of curious about how the artificial sugars in like the zero drinks act as a co-transport for sodium. There's probably some medical journal papers I can read and probably break down for everybody later based off what I read. What I also thought was weird was, so it goes off what you need, right? If you're actively sweating or maybe recovering later, like there's one made for diarrhea. That, in hindsight, is probably why Gatorade had, this is maybe early high school, Gatorade had a line of almost like pre-workout or like pre-sweating drink during, and then there's a recovery drink they had. They tried doing a line where it's like, all right, if you're like an active athlete, you're going to want the pre, the mid, and then this, obviously. Kind of curious if that's why, and if so, I don't think they sell them anymore. I haven't seen them in years at the stores. But if I can go back and get the nutritional facts, I wonder what the differences were that they formulated for it before, during, like, let's say, a halftime, and then post, like you're completely recovering.
I wonder if we can pull that up real quick.
Possibly. I wish I remembered the name of it, like of each one. Gatorade, pre-recovery, some shit. Something. And when we're talking about that, one thing that was interesting, because I don't know if there's sugar in it, but normally you add equal parts salt and sugar when pickling. And something that you probably remember from football, and something we always did as coaches, because sometimes people are in a rush, and even a coach grabs a quick drink by the cart at halftime, and they don't realize it's basically pickle juice.
What? Oh.
And pickle juice, right? You get the salt and stuff normally. I wonder how much sugar content's in there, because technically pickling has equal parts.
Yeah.
But how much of that goes into the actual pickle shot later? Which, by the way, there's nothing wrong with a decent pickle shot, but I've seen some where it's like, it's a little tiny plastic shot bottle, like a 5-ounce energy, but it's pickle juice. But it sells for like $2-3. Just go get a jar of pickles. And just go get a small water bottle in here. Like, here's a couple for the week, I guess. Like, if you need a meal prep pickle shots, go for it. That's expensive. $3 for a little one.
No, bro, that's too easy. That's too simple. You got to pay $3. Is this what they look like?
I want the 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, but I want to say it was a little bit different. But maybe this is literally, I think, early high school. So maybe like 2012, 2013.
Gatorade Prime, pre-game fuel drink, perform, recover, post-game protein muscle recovery beverage. So these are the G Series Pro. Okay.
Yeah, and Gatorade's had a lot of different iterations that I always chalk up to different marketing. But now that I'm looking at this, I wonder what the differences are between some of these. You can't have our data.
You can't have my data.
This one's letting have the data. Oh, reject all. We can just do that.
Thank goodness.
The button up top.
Oh. I was looking at the button on the bottom that said reject all. But fine, I guess your button is better than my button.
If you ever...
Huh? I'm just kidding.
If you ever don't feel like reading through everything, but you worry about your data, reject all when possible.
No, seriously. Okay.
So this is the during.
Not really giving us the nutritional factors, kind of what I wanted, but...
Oh, they're comparing all these. Okay.
Okay.
So we just gotta go to the Gatorade section. The American firm has made its presence felt in the pro cycling ranks in recent times thanks to its sponsorship of Team Sky and links to British Cycling. Their G Series is separated into before, during, and after products, and into standard, fit, and pro categories, depending on your level. Being the high-performance cyclists we are at Bike Radar, Gatorade dropped by to show samples of the pro range. Let's start with pre-training. The Prime is a caffeine-free, orange, berry, or lime-flavored blend of carbs, 83 kcal per 100 milliliters, and B vitamins in 118 milliliters, ready-made pouches that should be consumed 15 minutes before competition or training. As with older products, they are available from online retailers such as, I don't care to read those. They don't even sell these anymore, I think. Once you're riding, the Perform powder will be your weapon of choice. The 350-gram tub comes in fruit punch, orange, and lemon lime flavors and packs in 125 kcal per 35 grams / 500 milliliters serving. Recovery is taken care of by the 500 milliliter berry / orange recovered protein drink, which tastes much like the energy drink, think whatever that is, but it's slightly heavier on the stomach. It contains 16.5 grams of protein per 125 kcal per serving. The drink also available as pouches. There we go. That's exactly what we need to do. I'm ready. I'm already damn near Floyd Mayweather right now. I'm so tired.
Yeah, don't read the whole thing, but okay.
I mean, I was going to read to the end of this, but now the rest of that is just packaging costs. But okay, so Gatorade had a variety based on what stage you are in this. I guess that goes to show that even for elite athletes, they need a variety going on here. They don't just need a generic bottle off the rack.
See if I can just get a quick,
like a comparison chart.
Yeah. Let's see what the AI has to say.
Well, that's not for that series. This is for current up-to-date one. G Series Pro versus Recover something.
What was the last one called? It was like, I guess, Recover.
We already typed that, yeah.
Oh yeah, I did say Recover already.
Screw it. Oh, hang on. Beverage industry? Alright, this is the PR. Funny enough, I'm pretty sure I have a membership.
Alright, if I don't see something really quick, we're just gonna...
We just wasted a free article.
They just did. They got us. Alright, so, okay, well, regardless, this is a pretty cool concept. I didn't know that this was a thing, but...
Don't know if it failed because parents are like, do I want to commit to buying 3 of these? Because they're in a retailer. It's not a premier athlete.
And you're buying 3 for one use all in one day. So it's just like, are these packaged together as one singular thing, or is this like, do you have to get...
I think they were next to each other on shelf, but it wasn't a bundle pack.
No, and how much were they each? Do you remember?
It's like 2010.
Dang.
So even if I told you, oh, that's a steal, it's like, yeah, now at 14 years of inflation.
Yeah, it's true.
Man, the Gatorade Recover protein shakes. You know what I haven't tried?
What?
Gatorade sells water.
I've tried their water.
Really?
I told you I'm an electrolyte fiend.
That's true.
The water, it has a pretty cool flavor profile. Kind of tastes like water, and then when you drink it, you get like a watery texture.
Word? Word?
Yeah, it's fucking water, bro. That's all I can say.
You ever play Mike Tyson Punch Out?
A little bit.
No, okay.
I'm about it. You'll lose.
I'm just doing it on a stream, that's why. We don't need that footage out there. No. Regardless of what happens. Okay, no, there's that. Now, truthfully,
we've been moving.
We've been on here for a minute.
Yeah, do we want to wrap it up here?
We could. It's either that or we do one of the shorter videos.
How long are these ones?
9:56,
we don't have...
and then I'm not saying that.
We got 2 10-minute videos and a 30-minute. All right, let's...
These are more business-based, so the discussion is more business-oriented, not critical thinking of nutrition, because we're not medical people here.
All right, let's...
One of the hottest stocks in America, and it's got nothing to do with AI. It is Kava.
Kava shares have been on a tear, hitting a record high today, more than doubling in 6 months.
In a little more than a year, fast casual Mediterranean restaurant chain Kava has become one of 2024's most talked about stocks on Wall Street.
Kava seems to have found a magic formula. No real competitors out there. And it's clearly pulling ahead of everyone else. It's one of those ones that's got a ton of potential growth on there. I mean, I think you're talking about double-digit growth for at least the next 5 years.
The food's delicious. The company's been well managed. They hit free cash flow out of the gate.
Its stock has grown by more than 480%, and its market cap by 200% since going public in 2023. Its 341 restaurants are valued at $43 million each.
We're creating and defining what we believe to be the next large-scale cultural cuisine category, and that's our unique Mediterranean cuisine.
But Kava's concept is nothing new. A bowl and a healthy mix of protein, carbs, and veggies. Something fast casual competitors have had huge success with. The question is, could Kava become the next Chipotle?
If they can continue to grow successfully and no other major competitors enter the space, they have an opportunity to become the next Chipotle.
Work on the other one. Graduation form.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday.
It's a typical weekday morning at this lower Manhattan Kava restaurant.
I think I have maybe 6 to 7 people coming in the morning. They're making the topics from scratch, cutting the parsley, cutting the cilantro, mixing the items together, marinating the chicken, making the spice mix as well. Everything that we have is fresh, which I think is the beauty about Kava.
You're not watching the stream. Why do you want to watch me graduate? You're not watching the stream, fam. Kidding. Please don't. Please don't.
I'm clipping that part up and sending it to her directly.
It's absolutely a joke.
What's going to happen?
That's 38 items and 17 billion combinations, the company says.
We think that value is a combination of attributes. And for us, that's the quality of our food. It's the relevance of our Mediterranean cuisine. It's the convenience in which you can access that food. When you put all that together, we think that's a compelling value proposition that's really helping drive those results and the momentum that we see today.
That momentum has translated into financial results. In its Q2 2024 results, the company grew revenue by 35.2% from the same quarter the year prior and opened 18 new locations in the period. Kava has bucked industry trends with near double-digit same-store sales and traffic growth. And Wall Street is responding. Between January and September 2024, its share price has more than tripled.
In an industry where you can count restaurants that have.
So I wonder how much effort they put into real estate, because for them to be doing these type of numbers where each one of their stores is averaging or getting, what did they say, like 28 million, something like that? No, 14 million, I believe. For each of their stores to be generating this much revenue, and I don't know over what period of time that is, but there has to be something that's going on where within their model where all of their stores are destined to be great. And I feel like real estate and location is probably a huge part of it, but also it's like maybe it's just maybe it's low startup cost, like maybe it's just an easy way. What do you think? Just based on
couple things.
What we see.
Funny enough, as a follow-up, I'd like to walk into a Kava, try it out, honestly.
Cut the footage. No.
All right.
Cut to us in Kava.
Man, for one thing, as he knows, I have this weird thing where...
Wait, we have to welcome ourselves back from the Kava video.
So we just came back.
All right.
And here's what we found.
Can't wait to find out how good it was. Or bad.
Whatever we're transitioning with here on the video. So here's the deal. I'd like to go walk in there, and we did, because of one thing. As you know, I like to just take a look for a minute, almost just like street, like people watch like on the streets for a little bit, see who's going in and out.
Yeah.
Right? What's going on here? What I've done by doing delivery orders for, various delivery order platforms, trying to make some quick bread. It's usually people that are multiples, people with shopping bags, well, a little bit of leisure in time. So there's that. So yeah, I think I know what you're gonna say. So basically, not us. However, for multiple reasons.
My brothers and sisters out there know what I was gonna say.
Habibti, we've never said Yallah, Kaaba. Kaaba, maybe, but that's Mecca. So the thing is, I think it's got to be a location that you're talking about, but I've only seen them in retail parks. I guess that's the term, right? The shopping center areas. Yeah. And they're usually next to all the other restaurants because you want to have those designated in the same place.
That's a good point. They're even in one right here.
Right. So I legitimately, based off the one I know in South Austin near Brody, where it's just like the Barnes & Noble, everything on Brody. So basically, they usually have what I describe as clientele. People who, let's kind of go through the rough thing here. Let's say because they're costing probably 15 to 20 a bowl maybe, or add-ons included with that.
Yeah.
Because that quality ingredients, what I see and gather. Let's kind of break it down. Demographics. Let's say you're at least making, at least in Austin, 50 grand, maybe 55 grand per person. Not as a household, maybe a little bit more. As a household, minimum 60, 65 in a house, depending on size. Let's say you got that going on. Let's say, because you care more about your food nutrition as a place to advertise it, you might be going for different things like a lifestyle benefit. It's like, oh my God, let's go Kava, because people, I guess, do that. There's that. But let's say if you're going for a lifestyle and health thing of the Mediterranean diet, which has been growing and trending more over the past few years, Not a bad thing. Great food.
Shout out to Macy's.
Absolutely. We still need to go. Basically,
Video of us going there, Nat? No, I'm just kidding. We're too broke for that. We can't have multiple cutaways.
we're not being charged for a cutaway.
We're being charged for the meals.
Video year from now, watch me just have like random blonde hair for like a week, and it's just like, all right, cool. Med did that week. But here's the deal.
I'm not recording any videos with you with blonde hair. I'm letting you know
I
that
lost
right
the
now.
bet. Okay, I'm not doing that. Here's the deal. So we have that 55, 60K. Maybe because you might care more about the nutritional things, studies on average show people of higher education supposedly care more about nutrition. I kind of have to be infactual because while you're getting your higher education, you're usually on ramen noodles for a year. So we'll see how factual that is. But stereotypes. Let's see here. Psychographics, you care about health. You care about sitting down for a meal and enjoying it versus let me go get a smoothie on the go. So you can kind of reverse build out a profile person. And there's probably a pitch deck out there of Kava, who their target consumer is that we can see as an avatar. So I'd say somebody like that's probably what's going on there. So location would matter because you have to go to a retail park that has all these different options for people to leisurely shop and then have a convenient way for people to make an active decision on their health while they're shopping for hours. And that seems to be the place. So that's what location would be within a retail park.
Thanks. And I think I've seen some in like the more higher upper scale malls as well. So
yeah, nicer shopping areas. There's no Kava on Lamar and Runberg.
Its share price has more than tripled.
In an industry where you can count restaurants that have positive transaction growth on literally one hand, quarter after quarter, Kava has been posting tremendous transaction growth, and so that's really what stands out.
Everybody can go advance for a second, but have you ever seen advertising for them on even like an Uber Eats or DoorDash platform, anything? I do Uber Eats to pick up orders and stuff for myself, see if there's any deals, see what restaurants going on. I don't see that, and the reason why I'm bringing it up is normally if you want to drive sales growth, right? We figure, okay, what's your customer acquisition cost? Can we do any sort of marketing, and can we take not just the hit of hiring marketing people? What is the cost of marketing promotions we might be doing here, right? We're going to do sales, bounty on for Uber Eats, stuff like that. I don't really see too many advertisements of Kava. Maybe it's because we are not possibly target markets, maybe they're not at us. It's not my algorithm by any means. So maybe that's why. But
we don't advertise at the liquor store.
Well, that's more you than me.
Yeah, that's true. I'm just saying in terms of where we live.
They're not at the cigar bars, I have to tell you that much.
I mean in terms of where we live.
Oh, they're not the gun stores either. Gun store, liquor store, gun store, liquor store. So basically, shout out Dave Chappelle for a bit.
Shout out to him.
I don't get these ads. I don't see them. And normally I try to figure out what food places are doing ads because, we have Just Season. We like to think about this kind of stuff. So I wonder what their customer acquisition cost is. And if they're growing this many sales without doing too many promos and ads, they must really have something. Maybe it's just word of mouth marketing, but you got to grow your sales from somewhere. So I'm curious.
It could be. And I wonder if they came up and they could have also, come around an opportune time. I remember there was that year or so where Chipotle had that scandal with the E. coli major thing. A lot of people weren't. Chipotle had kind of a bad rap, and they did a good job of coming back from that. But if Kava saw that opportunity and got in there while people were kind of shifting away from that, they could have built a loyal customer base at that time, which then expanded out, and people started talking more about like, okay. And now even though Chipotle is back in our good graces and we love them, if you were there for me whenever I was going through a breakup, then I'm always going to come back for you.
And here's the thing. In addition, they don't necessarily compete. I know they do because they compete for room in your stomach and also room in your wallet, right? That's the idea of food competition. Cuisine-wise, similar concepts, but one is the Chipotle take on some Tex-Mex kind of foods, honestly, or California Mexican fusions as well at times. Another focuses on the Mediterranean.
There's a third focus. You not putting your hands on the table.
The second one I tried really hard just to be like.
I know. I saw the effort, but
the first one was just like I was like, oh, I'm an idiot.
He went crazy. You got to keep it consistent. If you're gonna go, you gotta go.
That definitely helps. You seen A-rap music on MPCs? It's me basically hitting this stupid table. It's my desk. I'll break it if I want to.
The company's early success is due to a variety of factors. For one, the company is vertically integrated and works largely with single-source suppliers.
that allows us, large-scale purchasing directly from our grower, rancher, producer partners, and we manage a lot of the inbound freight to our distributor partners who work as last-mile transportation. So that allows us some efficiencies of scale and cost effectiveness, but still delivering those high-quality ingredients. And then you think about our production model, that walk-the-line format, that Henry Ford.
Well, I imagine that they don't just have one ranch. They probably have a system of different farms that they use that are close to their distribution centers.
Okay, well, I was talking because they said like single suppliers.
Yeah, but it's probably for different products, wouldn't you say? Like, I don't think they get all of their different products supplied from one. And I assume.
You mean like one chicken ranch, one beef ranch?
Yeah.
Even then, that's a lot of cattle.
Yeah, it is a lot.
Going to other places. The reason I ask
but it's got to be like ones that have like multiple different stops or multiple different locations for the ranch itself, because it's just like, how else can you feed all these different stores?
That's true. I mean,
unless you have really efficient transportation when you're going to your distribution, because they said they handle the transportation not only from the farm to the distribution center, but also from the distribution on.
It's hard to do, even locally. Think about, off the top of your head, fast-growing, seems to be almost iconic for some people in Austin, diner chain, breakfast diner chain.
Mm-hmm.
Curly Lane Cafe. I've had the pleasure of meeting with the, I guess, current CEO of Curly Lane Cafe, because some Texas State lineage there between us. At least there's some connections we know. And he's talked about how...
Proud Boys.
What happened? Did you call me a proud boy?
I said a pair of Proud Boys. Sorry, it's Texas State.
Relax here.
We're still good. We're not going to put it in the video.
I was not a frat kid, all right? Let's relax here.
What?
So,
no Theta Phi Theta for you?
No, but okay, never mind. I was going to...
You're going to break into Stomp in the Yard?
What am I? That's what Theta Kappa was up. So basically,
gotta love those Kappas.
They're going to be rolling through our little walkway. What'd y'all say? So here's the deal. The main reason why I brought Curly Lane Cafe was because I think they work with multiple farmers every time they had a new restaurant, even for something like tomatoes, and having to do the quality control they do with different suppliers and farmers. Thinking about that now for something that's nationwide with 330 locations, that's why I was confused. Like, single supplier? Like, that's a lot, especially because, let's say it's one supplier just for chickens. Let's say you're in, I don't know what state is the highest on the chicken index and the futures and trading market for that, but let's say it's somewhere like Montana, right? Mm-hmm. Somewhere there's a lot of flat farmland. Getting from there to Florida, even if you're central in Iowa, that's a lot of miles each way. Just getting to Florida, honestly, and from anywhere. Getting to South Florida from North Florida is already enough. So just stuff like that. I mean, I know there's truckers that do that within a day, and shout out to all of our truckers. They're really the backbone of America here. But supply chain wise, it sounds like a nightmare. So shout out to them if they figured it out.
Yeah, I know HEB does a lot of local supplying for a lot of their different products. And I don't know how they advertise it or if they advertise it as single source suppliers, but I know that like for multiple different products, they'll have one supplier for, say, a specific kind of avocado, but they'll have a different avocado source from another farmer or different.
Yeah.
So I wonder if maybe they utilize that in a way. Maybe it's just like each chain, because the way that they were also talking about it earlier, it kind of seems like each chain kind of has their own thing going on. So each chain could have its own single source farmer for each,
like a regional distributor.
Yeah, like
okay, that's what I was confused when they said single, because it's like, if so, bravo. I mean,
but distribution systems are really advanced now, so who knows?
Type production line.
The company has also stayed away from what most in the industry haven't: price hikes. It has drawn high-income consumers who've moved away from traditional dine-in restaurants in favor of cheaper options.
We were the only limited brand that didn't take incremental price because we wanted to work on behalf of our guests and, again, bring them the best value proposition we can.
That relative value advantage, if they so choose, is just going to expand over time. And that's really the biggest competitive advantage that they have.
While Cava has plenty of competitors in the fast casual dining category, Mediterranean chains of that scale are few and far between. In 2018, the company acquired direct competitor Zoe's Kitchen for $300 million and converted 153 locations into Cava's.
It allowed us to kind of turbocharge our growth at the time and get a large footprint in a part of the country we were trying to expand to. So that was the Sun Belt, and kind of double down on our presence in the suburbs.
First founded as a full-service restaurant in Bethesda, Maryland in 2006, Cava was rebranded as a fast casual chain in 2010. Co-founder and CEO Brett Schulman is still here after 14 years.
You know, the fact that he's been very conservative around pricing and he's been ahead of the curve in terms of, investing in.
They've only been here for 14 years.
I was just thinking that, like, they've gone crazy in such a short amount of time. But I mean, that's kind of, I guess that is what they're saying. They're talking about the whole time how crazy the growth rate is, but 14 years is insane.
I know we talk about like digital products in the modern age, it's easy to scale and grow, but this is example of, hey, with growing information of diet trends and other stuff, and probably Instagram and other things going on here to show off what's basically looks like a lot of good salads and rice bowls.
Yeah.
Probably helps out a lot, because this is the one thing I always tell people outside of him, because we have this Jst Szn thing here for some projects we worked on. When I was at Papa John's, they would talk about how, Jst Szn, I think that's his last name. He founded it in like the 70s, basically, up in Louisville. Sold the Grandpa's Camaro and all that stuff, right? Story on the pizza box. And they have so many. They're one of the biggest retailers across the world. They had them in Pakistan in 06 when I was there.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of them here. So the only good thing in there, as a side note, this is before Uber Eats, right? This is 06. I didn't even have electricity all day unless I was at a rich family member's house. KFC, McDonald's everywhere, deliver.
Really?
Just pay him in cash. Give him the address. 40 minutes later, come through on like a motorcycle.
That sounds awesome.
It's so awesome. And this is like, I'm coming from one of the biggest cities in the world too, so doing that for like 16, 18 million people, it ain't like, like Austin's big, but it's not massive compared to that. This is it's larger than Mexico City itself.
That's
so, at least at the time, I think Mexico City got beat now. So, yeah, no, that's insane that it happens, that Papa John's grew so much, right?
Yeah.
A lot of our well-known brands, 40 years old, 50, maybe 60. I think even the Gatorade was 70s or something.
Shit, if you want to get into major hitters like Coca-Cola, really old.
Yeah, but then think about like relatively younger companies. That's kind of a thing where it's like, we see these brands because we're both born in 98, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people, it's like, oh, this brand's probably been here forever, because I don't remember a time it wasn't without it. They're relatively young. Most people's parents, if you're a millennial, your parents were probably there when some of the products were new and just expanded their area. And Cava's one of those things where like, now it's new to us. Next generation's probably gonna always be here for them if they, still ride as a business. God bless. It gives hope for a lot of new people thinking about new developments. You too could be a cornerstone or a pillar stone throughout an entire nation or world if you just work on putting a good product out there and good financials, obviously. So kind of inspirational in that sense.
Yeah. Okay. Born after 2010, you might very much so grow up seeing Cava as a household name, like you saw Chipotle and shit like that.
In labor, we judge leadership based on results and what they've been able to achieve, and I think it speaks for itself.
In 1993, Chipotle revolutionized fast casual dining when it launched a new concept, allowing customers to customize their order using fresh, high-quality ingredients.
I think consumers saw this as, I can go out and eat healthy, I could be substantially satisfied, and I can do it for a reasonable amount of money.
Chipotle's service assembly line strategy prioritized efficiency and customization, all while spending less on labor. Its model took off. Just check out the stock chart right here.
In the restaurant industry, imitation is the greatest source of flattery. And what we see is when there's one successful concept, it can be replicated, certainly within the same menu category like Mexican. But because Cava took it to Mediterranean, they shifted the focus away from the competitive set of Mexican.
It hasn't always been replicated successfully. Sweetgreen, for example, another fast casual bowl concept, is not yet profitable. It went public in November 2021. Cava accomplished the feat in its first quarter after its IPO. Like Chipotle, Cava priced its IPO at $22 per share, with both stocks doubling in value at closing. When food giant McDonald's decided to invest millions into Chipotle in the late 90s, the company quickly expanded its store count to more than 500 before going public in January 2006. McDonald's sold its shares in the Mexican chain later that year. As of Q2 2024, Chipotle's store count is around 3,500, and it has a long-term goal to double that. Cava, on the other hand, has less than 400 restaurants. though it's aiming for 1,000 by 2032.
Restaurants do not scale like SaaS software. It takes a lot of people, a lot of infrastructure. Whether it's Bryant Park in New York City or Back Bay in Boston or Fayetteville in North Carolina or Fayetteville in Arkansas, we're seeing this so well received in the cities, in the suburbs, in small towns. So it's just a matter of when can we bring this.
I do think they're going to follow the same path. Chipotle is the one that's actually right now in the process of discovering what that opportunity is. All Kava has to do is just kind of follow in those footsteps, and they're really going to get there.
In 2024's most recent quarter, Kava's same-store sales growth and transaction growth outperformed that of Chipotle's. Kava stores are valued nearly twice that of Chipotle's.
The reason why each Kava is being valued at a significantly higher premium than each Chipotle is simply, the fact that there's much longer of a runway ahead of Kava, right? So right now you're not necessarily buying 400 stores, you're really buying 4,000 or 8,000 units at some point in the future.
While the company is boasting impressive financials, Kava isn't immune to risks. Supply chain disruptions, whether in quality or price, could harm any company, especially one that operates under the single source model. Cost increases are real too, labor being one of the main. Diversification is another limitation, although the company is currently piloting catering in some cities. And lastly, competition. Though Kava is ahead of the curve, fast casual is an extremely competitive category.
They just have to kind of focus on the blocking and tackling, and make sure that they protect and grow the brand and the various brand equities that have worked for them so far.
As you grow, it just forces you to think about how do you do what you do, at 20 or 30 restaurants, at a couple hundred restaurants, or hopefully eventually 1,000 restaurants. How do we build a team and build process and continue to nurture our culture so that last person on Sunday night that might be 3,000 miles away from me feels that same passion, has that same clarity of purpose and mission that we're trying to deliver, because ultimately that's what's going to help us be successful.
1, 2, 3, Friday!
All right, we're all doing great. Who knew? But, it was informative, and I like this. I had no idea that Kava was on such a tear, although I gotta say, it does kind of explain why I've been seeing them everywhere. I remember the first time I saw one I was in an airport, I believe. I don't remember exactly which city it was, but I was coming back home, so I was abroad. I think it might have been Boston. I know he mentioned Boston as one of their flagships, I believe, but
I'm trying to remember if I saw one at Logan, but to be fair, when I went with you back home, we were early.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was at Logan or if it was at, because sometimes we do Providence, so.
Oh, I forgot the name of that one. That makes sense. I don't think I saw it at LAX, but when I was in LAX coming back, it was pretty early. I think there might have been one there.
It could have been, but I remember seeing them. That was the first time I had ever saw one, and I really remember thinking okay, what is that? And then I saw it at a mall whenever I was in, I believe, Houston at the Galleria, and then I saw it. Now I see them in, for real. And then I see it in Austin, and I saw it in B Caves area. That was the first time I saw one in Austin, and now there's one that you mentioned that was where?
If you go South Austin, 71 in Brody, like the Wendy's is near Burger Stadium where AISD plays, Tony Burger.
Mm-hmm.
Go past that Wendy's, go down. It's near where the Barnes & Noble and all the shopping is.
Okay, I think I know. Okay, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, if you're gonna take Brody back to where both of us used to live, basically in South.
Pretty good deal for them. And then the Zoe Kitchen move, I think that probably really helped a lot with their expansion, but for them to be able to get that much capital that quickly to even be able to buy Zoe's, it's just wow, really impressive.
That's definitely a lot here. Yeah, I think that's been it here.
Yeah.
Screen.
Thanks for checking in with us. Thanks for coming, and we're gonna clip all this up in case you guys missed it, and we're gonna also post videos about this as well. So if you are watching the future video, make sure you comment, like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications, because next time we go live, we're gonna be going live from our YouTube channel. So come mess with us, bro. Come hop in the chat and interact with us and give us a little bit more fun so that we can discuss some of your ideas while we're looking at some of this stuff.
And if you're seeing this and we're getting ready to have a holiday, of any kind. Send us your favorite stuff festive. Somebody's always got to play for some holiday. In addition, you didn't hear this from me. Just season your food, people.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Do that, please.
Go in a pantry. Use the space. It's prime real estate. Shout out none of those brands. We're coming for you, brother.
We're coming for you,
I'm not
brother.
finishing the line. Okay.
Oh, I thought you were gonna.
No, I was quoting Hulk Hogan.
You sure you want to quote him?
In that line,
he would have finished the line.
Only in that specific line I was saying.
He would have finished.
He would have
the
spray
line.
painted the line.
He would have definitely spray painted. Okay.
End this so I can do my quiz for my homework.
My fault. We're out. Check us out. Also, we are doing a lot of reactions, but stay tuned because we do all different types of things surrounded by food. We got reviews coming. We got our own recipe videos coming, and just let us know if you want to see anything else besides that in the comments of our videos. But we got a lot of different concepts coming for you guys, so just check us out. Stay locked in with us on our socials. We're gonna be talking about everything.